Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅgham saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Friends, this is a special retreat. This is a thematic retreat. The theme for this retreat is the Noble Eightfold Path. In parallel with the theme, I would like to talk about the Noble Eightfold Path and the Four Noble Truths. So for this Dhamma talk, our topic is the Noble Eightfold Path and the Four Noble Truths. This is an overview. Days to come, as we have 3 more days, you are lucky to listen to different teachers, different speakers. Tomorrow, day after, and next will be, the talks will be given by different teachers. Bhante Mangala, Samanera Panya, and Samanera Jayanta, they will give talks on days to come. So today, the first day of this retreat. One day, a certain man was traveling on a road, on a path, in a wilderness. While he was traveling, the path was covered with dried leaves, twigs, and grasses. He went along the path, and when he went to the middle of the woods, he found a dilapidated city, where he saw parks, groves, parapet walls, arches, different things. He found all this dilapidated. It is an old city he found in the midst of the woods. Having seen this, he came back and informed the king and the ministers. And he asked them to renovate this city and rebuild this city. Thereafter, the king and the ministers, they themselves went there, and later on, they renovated the city and they rebuilt the wonderful city, which was inhabited by many people in the past. So later on, this city became a populous, a prosperous city. So this is a simile. This is a story given in a particular discourse from the Samyutta Nikaya. In the Samyutta Nikaya, there is a sutta named City Sutta, where the Buddha gave this simile of the city, where the Buddha said, monks, like that person who went along the road, along the path, I went along the path. That path is the path used by many different self-awakened ones in the past. That path is an ancient path. The Buddha said that path is an ancient path. In Pali, the Puranam Anjasam, the ancient path. That path was used by different self-awakened ones in the past. So the Buddha further said, when he went along this path, he found the way to understand aging and death. He understood the way to liberate from aging and death. So this is the path for the realization and complete liberation from aging and death. This is the path for the realization and complete liberation from birth. This is the path for the realization and liberation from existence. This is the path for the realization and liberation from attachment. This is the path for the realization and liberation from craving. This is the path for the realization and liberation from contact, feeling. This is the path for the realization and liberation from contact. This is the path for the realization and liberation from all six senses. This is the path for the realization and liberation from consciousness. This is the path for the realization and liberation from all formations. This is the path for the realization and liberation from ignorance. That is how Venerable Sariputta said in the Samma Ditti Sutta. So this is the path for the all liberation from all dukkha, in short. The dukkha, the Buddha very clearly said in the Sutta Nipata, the group of discourses, Buddha said, whatever dukkha, they all arise because of ignorance. Yang kinchit dukkhang sambhoti sabbang avijja pacca. Whatever dukkha, they all arise because of ignorance. Ignorance, as if you know the 12 links of the dependent origination start with ignorance. It is because of ignorance volitional formations come to be. Like that, the 12 links. So ignorance comes to be because of 5 hindrances. 5 hindrances come to be because of 3 modes of conduct. 3 modes of conduct, that's wrong conduct. 3 modes of wrong conduct come to be because of lack of restraint of senses. The lack of restraint of senses is the cause for the, unmindfulness, and lacking of clear comprehension. It is because of that, the lacking of restraint of senses. The cause of unmindfulness and clear comprehension is unwise attention. Unwise attention. The cause of unwise attention is not having confidence. That is lack of confidence. The lack of confidence is the cause. Do not listen to the Dhamma, Saddhamma. It is because of not listening to the Saddhamma, we don't have wise attention. So we don't get the chance to listen to the good Dhamma, Saddhamma, because of not associating good friends. That is how the Buddha pointed out these links, these causes, how things happen because of these things, different things. So the Buddha pointed out very clearly that the association of good friends, it is very important to associate a good friend. Kalyana Mitta. It is the good friend who suggests us, who help us to understand Saddhamma. What is Saddhamma? There is Dhamma, there is different Dhamma in the world. Counterfeit even, counterfeit Dhamma. But Saddhamma is different. Saddhamma is the very word of the Buddha. Very teaching. What the Buddha really taught is Saddhamma. Saddhamma means the 37 factors of enlightenment. This Saddhamma is to be understood. This Saddhamma is to be read again and again. And we have to practice accordingly. That is how we can understand the Dhamma. So Saddhamma could be understood only with the support of good friends, Kalyana Mitta. When we have Kalyana Mitta, when we listen to the Saddhamma, we can develop our confidence. Confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. With that confidence, we can give attention, we can practice, we can develop our wise attention. When we have wise attention, we can develop our mindfulness and clear comprehension. When we have mindfulness and clear comprehension, we can restrain ourselves. When we restrain ourselves, we can engage in 3 modes of good conduct, wholesome deeds. When we do good deeds, wholesome deeds, we can calm down ourselves, we can calm down our hindrances, so that we can come to a state of concentration, serenity. With that concentrated mind, we can see our own ignorance. In such a way, we can understand the formations, consciousness, mentality and physicality. Like that, the whole process of arising our dukkha, arising unsatisfactoriness. We can see that arising nature of unsatisfactoriness. The unsatisfactoriness is the truth in the world. It is the truth in the world. It is everlasting phenomenon in the world. Wherever beings, there is dukkha. Therefore the Buddha understood this as a truth, the unsatisfactoriness. It has 4 facets. Unsatisfactoriness, the cause of unsatisfactoriness, the cessation of unsatisfactoriness, and the path leading to the cessation of unsatisfactoriness. This is what is called the 4 Noble Truths. This is the central teaching of the Buddha. Without understanding, without realizing these 4 Noble Truths, nobody can attain enlightenment. Nobody can come to different stages of holy life, such as stream enterer, once returner, non-returner, and the arahantship. So the 4 Noble Truths are that important. It is the central teaching of the Buddha. So here we can understand clearly the 4th truth of the 4 Noble Truths is the Noble Eightfold Path. Buddha said, the dukkha, the cause of dukkha, the cessation of dukkha, and the path leading to the cessation of dukkha. That path leading to the cessation of dukkha is the Noble Eightfold Path. This Noble Eightfold Path is called noble. And even the 4 Noble Truths are called noble. Why they are called noble? Because the noble one, the noblest one, the Buddha, rediscovered this truth and the path. Therefore, they are called noble truths and the noble path. And also, those who practice, develop, cultivate it, they themselves become noble ones. That is why they are called noble truths and the noble eightfold path. One day, the monks were in the meditation hall. The Buddha came to the meditation hall. When the Buddha came into the hall, the monks, as they were discussing a certain topic, they stopped it. When they stopped the topic, the Buddha asked, "What is the topic that was interrupted by my arrival?" Then the Buddha, they said, "Bhante, we were talking about the Four Noble Truths, where some monks talk about the realization of the truth. Some said, when one understands one truth, dukkha, if one realize one truth, one can realize the other three as well." Then there was one venerable named Gavampati. He said, "This is very truth. This is what I heard from the Buddha's own lips." He said, if one realizes the first truth, the other three also could be understood. That means if you realize one truth, you can realize the other three as well. So these noble truths, Four Noble Truths, are interdependent, interrelated, interlinked. That is what we have to understand. Four truths are inseparable. So the Four Noble Truths, when we talk about the Four Noble Truths, we can understand how this is appreciated. This is talk of Venerable Sariputta once said. Venerable Sariputta gave a very classic simile. He, in the Mahahatti-padopama Sutta, Mahahatti means the elephant. Pada is foot, elephant's footprint. Where he said, of all the animals walk on earth, their footprint can be inserted in the elephant's footprint, because the elephant's footprint is the largest one. Like that, Venerable Sariputta said, like that, the all Dhamma, all good Dhamma, whole good teaching can be put in the Four Noble Truths. That is how we have to understand the significance of the Four Noble Truths. In the maiden discourse, in his very first discourse, the Buddha explained both these, the Noble Eightfold Path and the Four Noble Truths. Let's understand how the Buddha introduced and explained the Eightfold Path and the Four Noble Truths in his very first discourse, which is the Dhamma Chakka Pavattana Sutta. There is the setting of the motion of wheel of the Dhamma. He set the wheel in motion, that wheel of the Dhamma, where the Buddha, addressing the 5 disciples, the Buddha said, "Monks, there are 2 extremes which should not be followed by the practitioners, disciples. he pointed out two extremes. One is called sensual indulgence, the other is self-mortification. Buddha said, avoid these both. Because sensual indulgence, as he said, this is low, hino. Buddha said it is hino, it means low. Gammo, it is vulgar. Gammo. Putujjaniko is good for worldlings. Anaryo, it is ignoble. Anatta sanghito is conducive to unbeneficial. It is unbeneficial. Therefore, Buddha said, avoid it. Avoid that extreme of sensual indulgence. Then the other side, other extreme, Buddha said, the other one is called self-mortification, which is, the Buddha said, dukkho, it is unsatisfactory. Dukkho, anaryo, ignoble, anatta sanghito, conducive to unbeneficial. Therefore, avoid it. And avoiding this, Buddha said, avoiding both these, the Tathagata, means the Buddha. Buddha realized the middle way. That is the term that the Buddha used in that discourse. In his very first discourse, Buddha used the term middle way. What is this middle way? That is the Noble Eightfold Path. Why it is called middle? Because avoiding both these extremes. It is the middle way. This middle way, the Buddha said, when he realized this, Chakkung udapadi, Jnanang udapadi, Panya udapadi, Vijja udapadi, Aloko udapadi. With the realization of the Four Noble Truths and the dependent origin and the Noble Eightfold Path, both this, the Noble Eightfold Path and the Four Noble Truths, he realized the Dhamma. Chakkung udapadi, vision arose in me. Chakkung udapadi, vision, the eye, Dhamma eye arose in me. That is the vision he gained. Chakkung udapadi, Jnanang udapadi, knowledge arose in me. Panya udapadi, wisdom arose in me. Vijja udapadi, knowledge, science arose in me. Aloko udapadi, light arose in me because of this understanding. So Buddha in this discourse explained how he realized these Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths are to be understood clearly, comprehended. It is to be comprehended. Buddha said this is to be comprehended. The truth of dukkha, truth of unsatisfactoriness should be comprehended. The cause of unsatisfactoriness should be abandoned. The cessation of unsatisfactoriness is to be realized. The path leading to the cessation of unsatisfactoriness is to be developed. Then the Buddha said, as it is to be comprehended, I comprehended it. As it is to be, the cause is to be abandoned, I abandoned it. As the cessation is to be realized, I realized it. And the path is to be developed, I developed it. In such a way, the Buddha realized this Dhamma, realized the Four Noble Truths. As I said, the truth is the dukkha. Buddha then explained what dukkha is. Birth is dukkha. Buddha said, Jatipi dukkha, Jara, the decay is dukkha, Vyadi, the disease is dukkha, Marana, the death is dukkha, Appyehi sampayogo dukkha, associating with disliked person is dukkha, Piyehi vipayogo dukkha, dissociation from liked ones is dukkha, Sankittena, in short, Pancha upadana khandha dukkha. These 5 aggregates of clinging is dukkha. That is how the Buddha explained dukkha. And the cause of dukkha, Buddha said, cause of dukkha is this very craving. Craving is the cause of dukkha. Whatever dukkha, they all arise because of craving. Craving, it is because of craving and delight we cling to different states, different realms. You know, there are 31 realms in the world where beings are born again and again, die again and again. Those, none of them are permanent. They are temporary. They are impermanent places. So whenever beings are born there, they have to die. So wherever the beings, there is dukkha. So dukkha is to be understood. The cause of dukkha is to be abandoned. That is craving. Craving is to be abandoned. When we completely eradicate, extirpate, exterminate this dukkha, the cause, craving, that is what is called cessation of dukkha. For that the Buddha pointed out this path. That path is the Noble Eightfold Path. When the Buddha realized this Four Noble Truths, Buddha realized this together with 12-fold and 3 paces. There are 3 paces and 12-fold, this Four Noble Truths. The Buddha understood this. First, one has to understand it, comprehend it. Buddha comprehended. First to understand, then there is something to be done. The Buddha did this. In such a way, Buddha realized the 12-fold and 3 paces of the Four Noble Truths. Once he realized, then only Buddha declared that he was the self-awakened one in the world. Friends, the Buddha, in the Dhammapada, Buddha very clearly said, this is the only way. This is the only way for the realization of the truth. Buddha said, Magga nattangiko setto, of all paths, whatever paths, of all paths, Magga nattangiko setto, the Noble Eightfold Path is the best. Magga nattangiko setto, of all paths, this Noble Eightfold Path is the best. Satchanang chaturo pada, of all truth, whatever truth. We talk about truths, many different truths sometimes. Of all truth, the Four Noble Truths are the best. Satchanang chaturo pada. Virago setto dhammana, of all Dhamma, Viraga, the dispassion. Dispassion is the best. Dipadanancha chakuma, of all bipeds, two-footed, of all, the Buddha is the best. Then further Buddha said, Esova maggo nattanyo, this is the path, this is the only path, no other. For what? Dasanasa visuddhya. For the vision and purification. For the vision and the purification of mind. This is the path, Buddha said. Therefore, Buddha's instruction is, Dasanasa visuddhya etamhi tumhe patipajyata. Therefore, you all better tread on this path. Follow this path. That is the Buddha's instructions. Exhortation. Practice, follow this path. Develop this path. It is to be developed. Etammi tumhe patipajyata. Marasetang pamohanang. Why? This is the path for the bewilderment of Mara. Who is Mara? Death. Death. Death is to be ceased. Once we ceased our death, is called deathless, the state of deathless. That state of deathlessness is called the attainment of enlightenment. So in order to attain enlightenment, we have to stop our death. Once we stop our death, we stop our rebecoming, rebirth. So rebirth and death, birth and death, birth and death. This is what is called sansaric cycle. We can stop this sansaric cycle only through understanding this cycle. In order to understand this, we have to practice meditation. For that the Buddha taught us both serenity and insight. So as the Buddha said here, this is the way to stop the death. Mara setam pamohana is the way for the bewilderment of Mara. One day, a certain student asked Bhante, that's the Buddha, Bhante, how should we live in the world so that the Mara cannot see us? How should we live in the world so that the Mara cannot see us? Death never comes to us. That's the meaning. Never comes. So the Buddha said, Sunyato lokang avekhasu moga raja sada satu attanu ditting uhacha evang mattu taro siya evang lokang avekkantang Machu Raja Napassati. Sunyato lokang avekkasu. Buddha said, see this world as empty. Empty world. What is empty? Empty means empty with a self. Empty with a soul. One has to see the world as empty, means without a self. The world has no self, no soul, no permanent entity in the world. That is how one has to see the world. When you see the world as empty, sunyato lokang avekhasu, moga raja, that was the name of the student. For that, to see the world as empty, What is to be done? The Buddha said, Sada Sato, be mindful all the time. If you become mindful, if you are mindful, then you can see everything is changing. You can see everything is ever changing. The whole world is a flush of changing. There is nothing unchanging. If you see that change in nature, you see that nothing unchanging. If you see any particular thing without changing, that is what is called permanent entity. That is what is called substance. That is what is called soul or self. Buddha very clearly said in his discourses, there is no such thing in the world. There is no such thing in the world to be grasped as an entity, but activity. Activities, the whole system is nothing but an activity. That is how we have to see the world. Sada Sato, if you are mindful all the time, you can see this. Moga Raja Sada Sato. Then further Buddha said, Attanu Ditting Uhaccha. Uproot this notion of Atta, notion of self. Uproot this notion of self, soul. Uproot it. Evang machu tarosya. In such a way, you can go beyond death. You can go beyond death. Evang lokang avekkantang. When you see the world in this manner, machu raja napassati, the death, the king of death cannot see you. This is how the Buddha taught us the significance of practicing this Dhamma. So, in order to practice this Dhamma, we have to develop this path, the Noble Eightfold Path. As I said last night, the path is grouped into three: Sila, Samadhi and Panya. Sila means morality, Samadhi means concentration, Panya means wisdom. Sila, Samadhi, Panya. These are the three things to be concentrated on, to be thought again and again, and we have to understand these three. We have to make sure whether we have Sila, whether we have morality, our precepts, whether our precepts are good. Then when we practice, we can come to the state of concentration, serenity, tranquility. If we have good concentration, then we can see true. As the Buddha said, those who concentrate mind can see true. That is called vipassana, where we practice both together, in tandem, samatha and vipassana. So friends, when we practice this Dhamma, the Buddha's teaching, these two factors, the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, these are quite inseparable, though these are, as the central teaching, as the most important thing, we have to understand these two principles. So when we understand these two principles, we can come to the path, as the Noble Eightfold Path, we can come to the path with right understanding. Right understanding is the first step of the path, first factor of the path, of the Noble Eightfold Path. If we have no right understanding, we never come to the path, right path. In order to come to right path, we have to understand wrong path as well, and we have to give up wrong path. What is wrong path? The wrong thing, if our understanding is not right, our understanding is wrong. If we have wrong understanding, we start to think wrong thing. So the Buddha pointed out 10 types of wrong thoughts, wrong views, wrong understanding. What are the 10? In the time of the Buddha, there were some teachers. There were famous 6 teachers. Of them, there was one named Ajita Kesakambali. He taught 10 different things. He said, there is no such thing called giving. When you give, there is nothing happen. You don't give. You don't want to give. Huh? When a king named Ajatasattu went to meet him, he said to the king, there is nothing called giving. If you give, what happens? You lose your things. No good results or bad results. There's no things to call giving. And there's nothing to call offering. No point offering anything. You can offer something to virtuous one, but he said, no point giving. What is the use of offering? Then he said, no point giving, no point doing some sort of sacrifice. In the time, people sacrificed many things in the name of God. On different occasions, they sacrificed. They did their sacrifices. He said, no such things. Don't do such things. He said, whatever you do, good or bad, there's no such results. No such result. And there is no results of supporting your mother, supporting your father. Or doing anything harm to them. No bad results. And he said, for those who were in the past, they have no such world to be called this world. That means, do not believe this world. And do not believe next world. Pre-existence or re-existence. No such thing. You simply live here. It is sort of annihilationist view. You live here, once you die, everything finished. That is exactly what he said. Whatever you do here, at the end of life, everything finished. Therefore, he said this type of teaching. And further he said, there are no such beings called spontaneous beings in the world. Spontaneous beings are like hungry ghosts, deities, Brahmas. They are called spontaneous beings. They are born without the union of parents. So he said, no such beings in the world. And finally he said, there are no persons who have developed mind, who have come to the different stages in holy life. So in such a way, he gave a teaching, 10 types of wrong views. Buddha said, all these are wrong views. Buddha instructed us to come to the right view. Understand that giving is good. That is right understanding. Offering is good. That is a right understanding. Sacrifice is good. Doing good deeds is good. Doing bad deeds is bad. There are beings, spontaneous beings. Supporting parents is good. If we are doing anything harm to parents, it's bad. Like that, good and bad, right and wrong, wholesome and unwholesome. First thing is this. In order to come to the Noble Eightfold Path, we have to understand this. With that understanding, with that wrong path, we should come to right path. When we come to right path, right understanding, the right understanding really means understanding the Four Noble Truths. If we understand, that is the understanding level, not the realization level of the Four Noble Truths. Understanding level is that, where we understand dukkha, unsatisfactoriness as unsatisfactoriness, the cause of unsatisfactoriness as cause of unsatisfactoriness, the cessation of unsatisfactoriness as the cessation, and the path leading to the cessation of unsatisfactoriness as the path leading to the cessation of unsatisfactoriness. With that understanding, we can come to the path. That is what is called right understanding. Right understanding is twofold. Right understanding, with right understanding, we can reap the results. Buddha said that is worldly. Right understanding in a worldly manner, where we can reap results. It is conducive to reap results, good deeds. Because of our right understanding, we do good deeds, but still we are in samsara. The second level of right understanding is not with that such good deeds, not conducive to reap results, such results, but with wisdom, panya, where we develop our panya, our wisdom, so that we can develop panya, the wisdom, as a faculty, as a power, and as the factors, noble, 7 factors of enlightenment. Dhamma Vichaya, especially the investigation of the Dhamma, through which we can come to the unworldly state, supramundane state of right understanding. In such a way, Buddha very clearly taught us how to come to the path. When we come to the path with right understanding, then we start to think. Our thought then, good thoughts, right thoughts. Because our right understanding is right, we start think and we thought good thing, right thing. Right, that is right thought. What are the right thoughts? If we think to share with others, give, renounce things, that is right thought. If we think to extend love and friendliness, practice non-violence, these are what is called right thoughts. Non-cruelty, that is what is called right thoughts. With these right thoughts, we think, we talk, we start to talk then. When we start to talk, as we have good thoughts, we start to talk on good things. That is our right speech. Right speech is the third factor of the Noble Eightfold Path. So with clear understanding, right understanding, we start to think, then we speak. When we speak, our thought is good, right thought. We refrain from false speech, refrain from malicious speech, refrain from harsh speech, refrain from frivolous talk. That is our right speech. Then we act. When we act, bodily actions, we refrain from killing, refrain from stealing, refrain from sexual misconduct. That is what is called right action. This is the path. This is the Noble Eightfold Path. When we have right actions, we live righteously. Righteous living, that is called right livelihood. Right livelihood is successful with our effort. That is our right effort. When we make right effort to lead a righteous life, we always think of our actions, our mental actions, physical actions and mental actions as well. Mentally, whatever wrongdoing, whatever unwholesome, we try to avoid unwholesome thoughts. We try to develop wholesome thoughts. We maintain wholesome thoughts. In such a way, we come to practice. When we come to practice, we practice mindfulness. That is right mindfulness. Right mindfulness means practicing four things. Establishing mindfulness on four different things. That is called four establishments of mindfulness. We have to establish our mindfulness on body as body. We have to see this body as body. This external body and internal body. Internal body is the breath. External body is this body. First of all, we have to understand, we have to contemplate on these two. Then even we can extend it to others as well. External, outside, all over the world. Whoever, whatever comes to your mind, any being, you can infer, you can think of other beings, or this is what happens to other beings as well. But first of all, you have to understand yourself. That is to understand in your own breath and this form. That's called contemplation on body as body. Then feelings as feelings. Whatever feelings, whatever sensation in this body, we have to understand the sensation. Then whatever the mind, different states of mind, we have to understand different states of mind. Then the Dhamma arises. Whenever Dhamma arises, we have to understand the Dhamma as Dhamma. We can understand our own hindrances and completely cut off hindrances. Then the 5 aggregates, 12 bases. In such a way, we can understand the Dhamma. That is because of our right mindfulness. Right mindfulness leads to right concentration. You see, concentration is very important. It is called right concentration. Right concentration could be gained only with the support of first 7 factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. That means simply having concentration is not called right concentration. To gain right concentration, we have to have the support of the first 7 factors. If we have no right understanding, our concentration is not right. If we have no right thoughts, our concentration is not right. Like that. With the support of first 7 factors of the Noble Eightfold Path, one can come to the state of right concentration. If one has right concentration, then only one can come to right knowledge. That is the 9th factor of the Noble Eightfold Path. Now you see, the Noble Eightfold Path becomes 9th factor, the 9-fold path. That 9th factor is called right knowledge. Samma Jnana, right knowledge. That right knowledge means the knowledge of the Four Noble Truths. It is the realization of the Four Noble Truths. At the beginning, as the right understanding, at the beginning of the path, you see the understanding level of the Four Noble Truths. That is what the Buddha said, right understanding. Now, when you come to the ninth factor, right knowledge means the realization of the Four Noble Truths as they really are. With that realization, you can come to the last factor of the path as the 10th factor of the path. So the 10th factor is right liberation, Samma Vimukti. Samma Vimukti is right liberation. With that the path becomes tenfold path. So the Buddha said in the Mahachattarisaka Sutta, the Great 40, the discourse named Great 40 from the Majjhima Nikaya, middle length sayings. Buddha very clearly said, the Noble Eightfold Path is the path for trainees. It's the trainees' path. Who are trainees? Those who are on the path as stream enterers, once returners, non-returners, their path is the Noble Eightfold Path. The path, tenfold path, is the path for the Arahants, enlightened ones. So in such a way, the Noble Eightfold Path becomes tenfold path. So let's understand this Dhamma. Let's understand the relationship between the Noble Eightfold Path and the Four Noble Truths. Both these are to be understood clearly. Both these are to be realized by oneself for the attainment of enlightenment. So friends, this is how we have to understand the significance of practicing, developing this Noble Eightfold Path together with the Four Noble Truths. So during this retreat, we all want to practice this. We all want to understand this, and as we practice, develop this Noble Eightfold Path, one day we would be able to attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. May we all attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.